Welcome to another great show. Thank you for joining us. We have another great guest. We have Annika Gandarilla.
You did it great. That was
Awesome,
great.
awesome. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate you being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So, Annika, tell us a little bit about yourself. What you do in the industry and how long you've been in.
Well, I am the agent engagement and training specialist now. That's just recently changed, so quite a bit around here.
So, what were you doing before you got here?
I was in retail,
Okay.
so very crazy, like the real estate market and industry, rather. I was a general manager for Banana Republic. And I did merchandising, so planning that from start to finish. So this was kind of like a smooth transition for me. Totally different, but pretty much exactly the same.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think about what you have to do here, trying to corral agents and get them all on the same page. I like to say it's like herding cats, right?
That's very accurate.
Right. So I'm just thinking, was it kind of the same with the industry you just came from with Banana Republic, trying to manage schedules and people?
This is going to sound insane, but it's actually easier here to do that. So I feel like when you're in a retail environment, it's a little easier to be comfortable with whoever you're talking to behind a desk. People in retail are just a little bit different. It's actually a lot harder, and I tell people that on even my worst day here is still way easier than in retail. So I feel like everyone should work in retail at some point, but managing retail is a big deal. It's hard. Yeah.
I feel that way about serving tables. Like if
Totally.
you want to go to a restaurant, you should know how to do it before you go in.
Right. You should know what goes into it,
Right.
right? So yeah, here is lovely compared to all of that. There's hard days, but it's just pretty much the same.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Sense. So talk to me a little bit about the nonprofit side of things. What do we do, and what does that look like?
We try to volunteer. I know with COVID, a lot of things were, obviously closing to be safe, but we try to volunteer at least 3 or 4 times a month with the agents, with the partners, with affiliates, to just kind of gather everybody, to get them to be volunteering for the same purpose and helping our community. And I just feel like it's one of my favorite parts of my job. So, and then, like I said, we also do donations, which I've sent out to all agents who actually don't delete my emails, which is nice. And just collections of different things. So we partner with Phoenix Children's Hospital, You Mom Read to Me, just different things around our community that we can do and volunteer our time, because I feel like it's easy to click a button and say, I'm going to donate $25, but to actually go down there and partner with people and see how you're making an impact on their lives, and just that little thing like reading a book to their child so that they can learn how to do better financial management or apply for jobs or even dress for a job. It's my favorite part of my job. It's the best.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So I guess in all of that, what's been your favorite, event that you put on as far as the volunteer? What's been the most impactful to you?
Gosh, I'm trying to think. There's so many. I do want to say, since I mentioned it already, it's You Mom Read to Me. So we go down there on Tuesday nights to read to children ages 4 through 12. Again, while their parents kind of can go off and get everything together, because it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
You have children. I have children, so I can't even imagine managing that. And it's crazy to see like the different levels of if they can read or not. It can be rather sad, but just in that moment, I guess it just makes you feel like really lucky and with what you have, and that you take the time out of your day to help, have a good moment with a child. So that's one of my favorite ones. And then the most fun one is Feed My Starving Children. So that is in a Mesa location. So we go down there. They partner with countries all over the world to send them these Manna-Pack rice packets. Okay. And it's really fun because with the agents and the staff from here, we kind of get together and we race about who can pack the most bags. And it just becomes really fun, but you're actually, making an impact. Right. And then you kind of get to see all the different jewelry and other things that people have made to try to sell, and that actually goes right back into the organization as well, and they're great. So it's cool. It's one of my favorites. Cool. Yeah.
Cool. It's good to give back.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So what do you think your greatest challenge is with your role currently?
Oh my gosh. I think just managing everyone's schedule, and to really just assume that everybody is on the same page is probably a fail. Like, I don't recommend it. I think that's one of my challenging, just make sure that everybody is always on the same page, over communicating. I think that's been my biggest challenge. When I first started here, I think I was like, oh my gosh, I assumed that this person knew that that meant whatever, you know? And now I double, triple check everything, talk to people 5 and 6 times, and I would rather annoy them than to have something, you know, fail and me drop the ball. So I think that's really been like my biggest challenge here, which I feel like I've done a good job in overcoming, but it's hard.
It is. I do appreciate there's, you know, every now and then I see the email that comes over 1 hour, you know,
Right.
I'm like, man, I'm grateful I saw that. So,
You know, that's so funny because I just had an agent email me today that they were so grateful for my 1 hour reminders, but I really do have mixed reviews. Really can't blame everybody. Like we're always online, and so you get like so many different emails and things, and I do send a lot. I totally get that. But they are helpful, and maybe you put it on your calendar, or you thought you did and you forgot, or you forgot to RSVP, or whatever the case may be. My purpose is just to make sure that everybody gets the communication, and if you want to see something, that you can, and like, oh, hey, I really wanted to see that, you know, so.
makes sense. Cool.
Yeah.
So growing up, what made you go in? Was it retail your thing, or what were you looking for?
So funny. So I was actually a ballet dancer.
Okay.
And I went into professional dance, so professional ballet and modern.
Okay.
So I had no interest in retail whatsoever, except for the shopping part. Had that on lock, but honestly, just I got hurt, which was a bummer. And I just decided, you know what, I am going to go back to school and kind of see where my passion lies. So that's how I got into merchandising and design. So I looked into being like a buyer and merchandising. And then one of my friends said, I'm getting my own store and I would really love for you to come like help manage my merchandising department. And I did. And then I just stayed with that company for 12 years and it just kept moving up and up and up and up and up. So I just kind of bit a retail bug. I really like it. It's super chaotic.
It is.
And I love managing chaos. So I just bit the bug. I loved it. It's crazy. It's never a dull moment. So it's very similar to here, like I said. So.
Makes sense. So dancing.
Yeah.
What got you into that? Was it just you happened upon it, or someone else inspired you?
I wanted to do everything when I was a kid. So I wanted to do a little soccer, a little gymnastics, a little running, a little just everything. I wanted to do something active. And I took a dance class and it was really fun. I enjoyed myself. I just really fell in love with it. It's a way to express yourself. As you can see, I'm, very expressive. I love that. But it's a way to express yourself without actually speaking. And it's really hard again. So I love a challenge. And so I just fell in love with doing it. And I started when I was 7.
Wow. Okay.
So I got in trouble a lot for talking during class, which I know is shocking to you. But just loved expressing myself through dance. It's great. It's hard. So many opportunities, and got to, travel and meet all kinds of different people. And it just was awesome.
So did you competition do it as well, or?
So we didn't do competitions. Well, we did scholarship competitions, just to pay for classes, but mostly did like shows, things like that. Never a competitor like you see on television, like these reality shows. I never did any of that. So just competing with myself, and it's enough competition as it is. So that actually helps me in this industry too. Like just wanting to be on the ball, being very competitive, wanting to be perfect, just really helped me in my life, I guess.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Thank you. And who inspired you as a kid? Who did you look up to?
Oh my gosh. I mean, that's a deep question. I don't know. I really grew up with like music and dance in my life. But honestly, my dad was a musician.
Okay.
And so I was inspired by him. Like the same thing. We're both very similar in nature. We both like to express ourselves, and my dad always had music around. He was always trying to teach me how to play the guitar. And so my dad really inspired me to go for it, to not be afraid. And I think I've gotten to this point from that with him. Just, I'm not afraid to do anything.
Okay.
You know, I just,
Yeah.
what's the worst that can happen kind of thing. And so I would say my dad is probably my inspiration. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I appreciate that. I love what you said. What's the worst, right? You think
They
about it
can
and
say no, right? You're always, I don't want to ever live with regret. So you're always going to be like, what if I had asked, or what if I had said this? And I don't ever want to get there. I have, and I haven't liked it very much. So now I'm at this point where, you know, what's the worst that could happen? There's nothing that bad that can happen, unless there is. I mean, you have to weigh the risks. But
yeah, I hear you. But you know, you get through things.
Right.
Life
Right.
tends to work out. So
Yeah.
cool. Thank you. So I guess in all of that adventure that you have in there, what would you say the most adventurous thing, craziest thing you've done? Maybe your dad's like, what are you doing?
I don't even know. I did get to travel a lot, so those are probably like the craziest things I've ever done. I left everything I'd ever known and just packed my stuff up and said, I'm just gonna go compete and dance and do whatever I need to do and live out of this suitcase. And I didn't have any money, and my parents weren't gonna help me. Like, you're an adult, right?
Okay.
So I think that was probably the craziest thing for me. I know it doesn't sound totally crazy. Like, it was hard for me, and I was very used to relying on them. I grew up fairly sheltered, so it was really hard for me to say, like, okay, I'm gonna not need you guys, you know, for whatever I need, and to go to other countries and like eat other food and, you know, do that type of thing. So I think that's probably the craziest thing I've ever done.
I think it's pretty
Right?
wild. Yeah, just leaving everything and dropping everything. Yeah, I think that is adventurous. So
Yes,
for
it
sure.
is.
What countries did you end up in?
I've been to Japan, I've been to Trinidad, Venezuela, just different ones. I've been to Thailand, like just different things, just visiting, learning how to dance from different cultures, opportunities that I got, which were really cool. So,
What is something you think you took from all of that? Like something you're like, I'm grateful I went on that trip.
I think people in other countries are very chill about things. We're always on, right? We're always online, we're always communicating, we're always doing everything. And a lot of people from other countries, they don't do that. I mean, they close shops and
Right.
take naps, and that's a scheduled thing, you know what I mean? So I think it just taught me to be simple. You don't have to really overcomplicate everything, and sometimes the simplest thing is the best. Like, it just means the very most. It can be the very smallest thing that just like means the very most to somebody. And I think that is like, when I was in Trinidad, I mean, there were people living in huts there that they're just so happy to be able to share their food with me. And it meant the very most to them and the very most to me, because they didn't have anything, right? So I think that's what I learned coming back. Like, it can be the smallest thing.
Man, that's a great lesson.
Yeah.
I love that. That's slow down and
Just slow down, right? I need to tell myself that every day, but I do. Okay, like, slow down, take one step at a time. I even tell my kids, like, just take it one step at a time. Just very simple. Okay, we've knocked that one thing out, now on to the next step. And then things don't seem quite so overwhelming. So,
right.
yeah.
Cool. Just thinking of that, we had a conversation a couple of days ago about challenges, and you said I think you heard or read.
I did.
Could you talk a little bit about
Yeah,
that?
so I read an article, and I don't even know which one it was because I took the lesson from it regardless, but it was a therapist. So my dad's a therapist, and so he's always sending me like articles and books and everything. It said that nowadays people are just so used to having everything easy, like everything is just so easy to them, and it comes easy to them. So the smallest inconvenience seems like the biggest deal ever. And she said that she was gonna go out and find the hardest thing and do the hardest thing just so she could remember what it was like to have something hard. So when some challenges came along, they would just seem so easy to her. And I just really, connected with that, because I've been through so much and done so many hard things that when something is inconvenient to me, it's just not. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been through worse. I've handled it this way. Or I can think of 15 other scenarios of how to handle that. And it makes you prepared and brave to just get through those situations and be like, okay, I did this, so I can definitely do this thing, right? So it makes those things seem so small.
I appreciate you bringing because I'm always like, why do I do these things? But that made sense to me. Like, oh, I want to be better at everything, right? So
Right.
yeah, just challenge yourself.
Yes.
Thank you. I
Exactly.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
So you say you read a lot. I guess
do.
So is there a favorite book that you have that you're like, yeah, this is my go-to, or I love to tell people about this book?
I don't. I don't. I'm very into like the love languages books. I love those because I just think people are very fascinating. And I love that book because it just challenges you to open your mind and to see that not everybody thinks like you. So if I'm in a situation that's challenging, even if it's not a relationship, because a relationship can mean anything, right? So if I'm in a situation where I feel like that person is being challenging, I need to put myself in their shoes. I need to talk to them the way that they're going to receive the information, right? So it makes me in that mindset. So I definitely love that book. I definitely read it a lot over and over because you forget things. And not everyone is the same. So it's like, how do I talk to that person and connect with that person? Maybe they're just not into the way I'm saying it. So, I mean, some people can call that diplomatic, but I just try to empathize with the other person and kind of connect where I'm with them.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. I was just thinking of Bob's Burgers. Not Bob's Burgers, but what about Bob? He's talking about when I was just a disconnect, I just pretend like it's a phone call and we're just disconnected right now. And that's it. So yeah.
Agreed.
It's a great way of just showing grace for people.
Yes.
So, cool.
Exactly. Gets you a long way.
It does. It does for sure. So going back a little bit to your childhood, or I guess any time, just thinking about, I love the way people contribute to society and the way they make money, contribute to their home. What do you think most interesting way you've ever earned money or made a living?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. Like I've been in retail quite a bit, but I mean, I got paid to dance, so I got to do what I loved. I think it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It doesn't pay well,
Okay.
but I got to do what I loved, and so I guess I didn't care. But I think that's probably the most interesting thing that I've done. I haven't really like ventured out. Like I said, I was kind of afraid to like do stuff, and then that was kind of the craziest thing that I had ever done. But I don't know a lot of people that can say that they did that. So yeah, I think that's probably the craziest thing.
Doing what you love for money is cool.
Right.
That's for sure.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good way to be. So cool. I still like to just kind of stay in the home life or what that was like. So just again, going back to the childhood, was it here in Arizona? Where'd you grow up at?
I grew up here in Arizona, yeah. So in like the Paradise Valley area. Went to school out here, went to Xavier for high school and ASU for college. So I've always stayed here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And being a minority here, what was that like for you growing up here?
So different. So obviously I am, half Caucasian, half African American. So definitely different. I never, ever, ever fit in. It could be looked at as like sad or challenging, but I'm super grateful for it. Only because I have to pave my own way. I'm not so much this person and not so much this person, and either side was very excluding of me. Like, you're not enough this and you're not enough this, your hair is not the right texture, or whatever the case may be. I was always different, and I could have reveled in that and pitied, which is easy to do, but it's made me be like different and want to just be different. I don't want to do what everyone else is doing because of that very thing. It also makes me, I'm very quirky, if you know me, and very weird, and I kind of just do and say whatever. So I think that has made me that type of person because I just never fit in, and I kind of just don't want to. If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Yeah. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. My kids are struggling with that too.
Yeah.
They're kind of dealing with that balance, and so like,
it's challenging. And I have a little sister. So what's great about that though is when your kids get older, they will be able to bond on that, because my sister and I bond on that. Whenever we feel like we're out of place or we just can't fit in anywhere, we can go to each other and remind each other we're not those little kids anymore, right? So they'll definitely have a bond. I think that'll be great that you'll see.
Cool.
We made it.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on and sharing what you share with us. It's been great.